Am I the idiot for making a scene when I found out my sister put my niece up for adoption when she had her son? Edit to update. I've contacted local CPS for my sister's area, local courts, and I have a lawyer looking into it for me, starting tomorrow as I just obtained him. Thank you for the helpful comments pointing out the issues with this. Especially thank you to those in social work who reached out to me privately. I didn't realize how many options I had to fight this, or to see if it was legit. I'll update when I find more out from the lawyer. Lots of people commenting this is fake. I really wish it was. This has been a nightmare. Thank you again to those with helpful suggestions and feedback. My sister had a second child and we were all thrilled for her. She lives a few states over, and we haven't seen her this last year. She had one child 2 years ago with her boyfriend and the other one was born last month. Yesterday we had a family Zoom meeting to see the baby and to say hi to my other sibling. We get on. Family starts to load in. Everyone is basically there thrilled to see the baby. We get to meet a new baby boy. After a bit I asked to see my niece as well. My sister got quiet and very quietly said she doesn't have her. My aunt questioned this, and I was also confused. After a few minutes my sister said that in the beginning of January she put her daughter up for a closed adoption because she couldn't care for 2 kids. Everyone lost it. The whole Zoom was a mess. We didn't know. We never got to say goodbye. She didn't have to do this because any one of us would have taken my niece. I could have taken her. I've had multiple fertility issues, and although I'm currently pregnant I'm stable, owning a home, and have the resources to have taken a toddler as well as have my baby. Important. My sister has always also said she wanted to be a boy mom. I lost it. I called my sister a narcissistic grunt. I asked her when she'd get bored of the new baby and get rid of that one too. I asked her how the heck she could do this without reaching out to family. I know my sister and I know deep down she just didn't want a daughter. She was depressed when she found out she was having a girl, but thrilled for this entire recent pregnancy. I called her a monster for making children she didn't want to care for, like they were a novelty. I said some other things too. At this point, my grandmother is a complete mess and says her chest hurts so I stop. My aunt who is with my grandmother goes to help her and turns off the camera. My grandmother ended up having a panic attack that they thought was a heart attack at first. I'm so glad she is okay. My sister has since cut off all contact from the entire family. My father is mad at me for blowing up. I was the only one who did and says that I pushed her away. He said he could have tried to convince her to reverse it, but my verbal lashing completely ruined any chance of getting my niece back. I don't think he understands what a closed adoption means. Also, adoption takes a minute, so for her to have it completed by January makes me feel this process was in place for a minute. I don't think there's any chance of seeing my niece again when the mother and father both signed her to be adopted. He's mad at me because now he lost his granddaughter and is afraid he'll never know his grandson. My dad thinks I'm a butthole for freaking out and nearly giving my grandmother a heart attack. I'm feeling guilty that my grandmother had such an extreme reaction, but I feel that's more because she lost her great granddaughter. Not the idiot. For a moment, I misread it and thought she put up the newest baby for adoption, which, if she was worried about being able to support 2 children, I would have understood, though with her knowing you are interested in adoption, I would have thought she was a little bit of an idiot. However, after realizing that instead, she adopted out her baby girl, I'm just utterly sickened and stunned. I have memories from being young, so this is a child who is aware enough to remember her parents and other family. This is a child who loved them unconditionally, who understood what love is. I'm just so sick at the thought of this. Apologies for jumping on the top comment, and I know this is very dark, but I think OP needs to contact the police to check that the girl was in fact legally adopted by a family. I have trouble believing a social worker or any legit agency would allow this without question/therapy/intervention or even contacting family. My fear is that the sister did this under the table to people who are not vetted or could be traffickers, or worse, like Kaylee Anthony was supposedly with a babysitter. A closed adoption sounds like a great excuse as to why no one will ever see the niece again and have no way of knowing it, checking up on if she was safe. Also, is the boyfriend okay, or is it possible he's hurting her and pushed her to do this? Since OP's profile is legit, and not a throwaway. I have deep concerns and questions about this. Edit. I just want to add in a plea to the mods to not delete this thread or comment until OP has seen it, because if this is legit, there is a child's life at risk. Edit 2. Thanks Yaddle for drawing OP's attention to my comment. I believe they have commented stating they will be contacting authorities and getting a lawyer, and hopefully their niece is safe and sound. Let's try not to get too graphic about the possibilities. My citing the Kaylee Anthony case was due to the similarities, and I wanted to underline the importance of having the proper authorities confirm the niece's safety, because you cannot be too safe when it comes to children welfare and lives. While I appreciate the awards, if you have some cash to burn, here are ways to support the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Honestly, that's my fear too. Was this child actually adopted out? Does the boyfriend know? I would also get someone else's verification. Am I the idiot for not helping a lady at the doctor's office when she was having a hard time with her kids? Because of some arbitrary rule I don't understand, I have to go and see my therapist every month to have my antidepressant refilled. Don't know why this doctor requires me to do that. My last doctor was allowed to write a 3-month script, and I could call him if I needed help with anything. This doctor makes me come in for a whole therapy appointment, something I can't afford, but I have to have my meds. I'm searching for a new doctor. Anyway, rant over. Sorry. I was at the doctor waiting for my appointment. There was a woman in the waiting room, the only other person. She was probably the doctor's partner's patient. I don't know. Don't care. She had 2 kids with her. One looked like it was young. The other one was small and still in a stroller. So a baby, I guess. The bigger kid was playing on an iPad, and I guess the battery died, or his game stopped working. Something happened, and the kid started throwing a fit, screaming and flinging his arms around. I was using my own device with headphone, but I had them turned down, so I could hear when the receptionist called my name for me to go back, and I could hear the whole tantrum. Couple minutes into the kid throwing a fit, the littler one started throwing one too. Not sure why. I guess the older screaming made it angry. I don't know kids. I don't know why they do things. Don't like them. Don't want them. Never held a baby. Never want to. I tried to ignore them, but they were loud as heck. I could hear the older screaming, "She has an iPad. She has an iPad," over and over again, pointing at me. The mom gets my attention and asks me if the kid can watch what I'm watching, or maybe he can play a game and she can give me, like, $1 for every 5 minutes or something. I declined. Number 1, I don't let anyone touch my devices, and number 2, I don't believe in rewarding bad behavior. The kid was screaming and acting like a fool. You don't give a kid a cookie when he throws his dinner on the wall. He'll just keep doing it. The mom starts begging me, saying that she can't calm the little one down if the older one is screaming, and could I just help her out. I declined again, because the whole kids thing, I just can't with kids. They set me off. Frankly, kids give me anxiety. They always seem sticky and dirty and loud. The mom called me some choice names and ended up taking the kids outside. I got called back to my appointment like 5 minutes later and didn't see them when I got back out. The receptionist told me the lady had to leave because she couldn't get them to calm down, and the way she told me this kind of made me feel like she was trying to make me feel bad about it. It isn't my job to babysit someone's kids in public. You should plan for this stuff when you take kids places, in my opinion. I paid my bill and went home. Was I a butthole because I wouldn't hang out with this kid? Even if you were willing to let the kid look over your shoulder, they'd be in the same predicament 5 minutes later when you went back to your doctor with your iPad. It's not like you'd leave it with them to use, so another fit would have been thrown at that point too. Definitely not the idiot. Mother should brought her charger. Or, you know, raised her kids to not be entitled brats. I mean, it's not like iPads need to be charged at special locations. If you can't parent your child in any other way, except to sit them in front of an electronic device for hours, bring a charger. Op was not the answer to that woman's children's tantrums. Am I the idiot for defying my mother-in-law? My young son just developed an allergic reaction yesterday after dinner because his cousin accidentally fed him some peanuts, which is something he is highly allergic to. He developed red rashes all over his body and he told us he felt itchy. I decided to make the move to drive him to the nearest hospital, and it was at that moment I was stopped by my mother-in-law. She told me that in the midst of this pandemic, it is unnecessary to pay a visit to the doctor and that it's putting us at risk of getting the illness. She said he can have some over-the-counter medication, sleep it off, and it'll be fine tomorrow. She backed her statement up with how it has happened before. At that time we were unaware of his peanut allergy. He slept it off, and he was fine the next day. Now, I've heard of stories of how fatal an allergic reaction can turn out, so obviously I wasn't going to put my son's life at stake just because my mother-in-law thinks she's right. I insisted on bringing my son to the hospital, and I did. At the hospital, my husband started sending me a chain of messages asking me why I humiliated his mother by not listening to her, that she sounded logical, and I was just being overly paranoid over an allergic reaction. Apparently, my mother-in-law is now victimizing herself, calling her sisters, crying and complaining about how I went against her wishes. My husband, who was working night shift, even ended his work earlier just to go back home to appease his mother for my supposed defiance. He didn't even ask about our child or drop by at the hospital despite knowing we were there. The reason why I'm starting to doubt my stance is because at the hospital, the pediatrician assured me that it's just a common allergic reaction, that it wasn't anything endangering. Things are looking bad on me as a result, as if I was purposefully going against my mother-in-law because now she was right about it. Am I the idiot here? Should I have listened to her? Now everyone's turning their backs against me. The same applies to my husband. An anecdote. One year as a kid, I was stung by a cow ant type of ground wasp on the bottom of my foot. Foot swelled up, hurt, I got better. Second year, stung again on my foot by same type of wasp. Leg swelled to my knee, hurt like heck, I got better. Third time it happened, again, stung on bottom of my foot. My leg very quickly swelled up to my butt, and my mom took me to urgent care. I was told next time to go directly to the hospital. Unsure why I wasn't prescribed an EpiPen. Lol, maybe it was just unavailable for my poor family and our lack of insurance. That next time, anaphylactic reaction may happen, and that I should avoid wasps of any kind now. The point, allergies can accelerate even with minimal exposure to the allergen, in a scary way. Your mother-in-law knowing this has happened before without telling you makes me very concerned for the next time it will happen, as she's not concerned about the child's reaction, but her own saving of face. Not the idiot. Mother-in-law needs to get a firm grip. Not the idiot. This, as an ex-paramedic, I've seen this escalation. And as an ex-paramedic and kids with allergies, I'd be comfortable with over-the-counter for what this sounds like, a moderate allergic reaction, as long as I had an EpiPen if this progressed. But if I was a layperson, I could totally understand going to the healthcare professional here. I'm seconding this. Yes, they can be fairly minor and treatable with over-the-counter medications, but they can accelerate and be worse subsequent times. Case in point, my wife, who is also a healthcare professional. She cannot have kiwi. First time she had it fairly mild itching. Second time lip swelling. Third time, which was accidental, because my brother-in-law used a related kiwi fruit in a mixed fruit salad that we weren't aware of, she had full-on facial rash and said she was a little winded for a while. Yes, in hindsight he was fine, but it's better to be safe given the possible risk of death. If your mother-in-law doesn't agree with that, then she can kindly go frick herself. Not the idiot. Am I the idiot for walking out on dinner when friends ask me to leave? My group of friends made a reservation for dinner at a popular restaurant for 6 people, but when we got to the restaurant, one of my friends, let's call her person A, brought along her boyfriend without advance notice to any of us, hence making the total number of people 7. We all know her boyfriend well and are pretty chill with him, so we thought to ask the restaurant if 7 packs is possible. Unfortunately, the restaurant was unable to accommodate 7 people as our reservation was stated for 6 people. This was also understandable as the restaurant was a popular one and packed during that night, so fair enough. At this point, person A, who is kinda the leader of our friend group, turns to me and says back quote, "Okay, I think you should leave so that we'll have 6 people." I was flabbergasted and shocked when I heard that. My other friends kept silent and no one really spoke, so there was this awkward silence. I almost wanted to propose that perhaps we could have gone to a different restaurant down the street instead that could accommodate 7 people, for example, but I felt a surge of emotions and called her a heartless witch. My friends all looked at me in horror and person A clearly looked shocked as well. The next day, my friend, let's call her person B, texted me and said that I overreacted and was as a butthole for calling person A witch in public. I was confused by this as I thought that I wasn't the butthole in this situation. But maybe I was, I'm not sure. Am I the butthole? TLDR, my friends made a dinner reservation for 6 people, but 7 showed up. I was told to leave, and I called my friend a witch for asking me to leave. Am I the idiot? Edit. Someone in the comments raised a valid point. The rest of my friends were couples, aka 3 couples in the group, and I'm the only single person in the group. Person A's boyfriend said he couldn't make it when we made the reservation long ago, but he suddenly showed up at the restaurant last minute. Maybe me being the only single person in the group made me instantly the odd one out. Edit to update. This thread is now locked, and I wanted to give some sense of closure and update. Thank you to all for your insights and comments. I shared this thread with my backquote friends, and they told me off and scolded me actually for sharing this in a public community. However, one of the couples, who I'm closest to in the group, reached out privately to me over text and told me that they felt bad and apologized for not speaking up. But that's it. I've had enough and will walk away. To emulate the example of Michael Jordan in The Last Dance, I would say, okay, you wanna ask me to leave? Okay, fine. No problem. That's all I needed. I took it personal from then on. Edit 3. Apparently, the mods unlocked this thread now. I don't know why. To answer some of the common questions that cropped up, how long was the silence? Maybe the other friends were just stunned and didn't know how to react, so that's why they were silent? Answer: I didn't count, but the silence felt like 10 to 15 seconds I think. There was time for me to look at the rest in horror, but the rest were all looking down at the ground in silence. I concede that I should have given them more time, but honestly I think I instinctively felt like this should be quite obvious for someone to come out and say, hey, wait a minute, and 10 to 15 seconds was more than ample time. I also concede the possibility that the others may be stunned and didn't know what to do, but their subsequent conduct proved otherwise. See person B's conduct, or how the group reacted when I showed them the thread, maybe except for the couple who reached out to me too. Why is there a leader of the group? Are you guys in high school? Answer: no, we are all in college and met in college. Not childhood friends or anything like that. God forbid that my childhood friends treat me like that, hahakas. That would blow my mind. I can't even imagine. As for the leader, what I meant is our group is big and there's always going to be a natural, more dominant, de facto pseudo leader that takes the initiative, etc., whether it be organizing meetups or touching base with everyone and being the glue of the group, so to speak. 3. Did you walk out, or who walked out? Not clear from your post. Answer: apologies for not being clear. Yes, I walked out of the dinner after calling person A witch for. Why did you call her a witch? Under no circumstances should it be right to name call. Answer: I agree upon hindsight that it may be over the top, but it was in the heat of the moment and out of character for me. Friends who know me know that I'm usually the studious and quiet type. Maybe I chalk it down to being human and getting emotions get the better of me in the heat of the moment. 5. Why did you not defend yourself or voice your opinion or question why person A is asking me to leave? Answer: I wanted to do that actually, to be honest, but fell short of it. Something inside me, maybe it was whatever shred of self-respect or dignity that I had left, instinctively didn't want me to appear needy and be defensive and argue/beg for a seat at the table. I'd rather just walk away. Not the idiot. You need new friends. Good friends don't ask you to leave so an unexpected and unannounced +1 can take your place at the table. I know, right? If these were my ex friends, they would be just that, ex-friends. Shocking that your most supportive people who aren't your family just turned on you like that. They are not your friends, honey. I can't believe someone would do that. It really disgusts me. Seriously. I really have to wonder how much abuse someone must have endured as a child to experience a situation like this where they are so clearly not the butthole, and then turn around and be so unsure if they were the butthole that they have to ask. A lot of these posts are wonderfully ambiguous and create loads of discussion. This one, I absolutely cannot fathom why Op would think they were the butthole. Am I the idiot because I, 35F, sided with my brothers, 27M, X, 23F, instead of him? One of my brother's dream is to get married and have a family. Let's call him Brett for the sake of this. For 7 years Rhett dated Brit and was convinced he was going to live out his dream with her. It ended rather bitterly with Brit cheating on him. This landed my brother homeless for a few days and broke. He never processed what truly happened. He became obsessed with getting her back until a restraining order was filed on her part. I've encouraged him to see a therapist, but that was like talking to a brick wall. Now, he's only dated a woman for a month before breaking up with them. He insists these women are not wife material. Then we get to AmITheA, 23F. The first night of their date he called me to tell me he truly saw something special in this girl. After the second date he told me he thought he was going to marry her. We, brothers and I, met her 4 weeks into their relationship, and she was a sweet girl. I thought my brother was moving on. Then a few days later he broke up with her. This wasn't surprising due to his history, but at the same time it was. Rhett came over to tell me he still loved her, but she wasn't wife material, and she was showing signs Brit showed in their relationship. He insisted AmITheA was jealous, uncaring and insecure about his past relationships. Their texts, which he showed me, were a little appalling, and not because of her. He broke up with her over text. In his message he was very callous, name calling, etc., while she was very calm on her end. The reason for the breakup: they had a fight. She apologized and asked for a little comfort because her dad was sick. Rhett said he was too hurt by her to comfort her. To him she was being selfish. He explained her selfishness was just like Brit and would doom their relationship. Again, her reply was calm, and she told him she wished him well and recommended he get help because the past with Brit was still hurting him, and in the process he was hurting numerous other women. Looking up from the messages, I was shocked my brother could treat someone like that. He was expecting me to insult her, but I found myself siding with the poor girl. I said this was proof he's still impacted by his relationship with Brit, and he needed to see someone. He yelled at me for not comforting him and left. He told my boyfriend he was done with our family because there's no support. I felt good in what I did until another brother got me questioning what I said. He told me the best thing I could have did for it was sided with him, but then later discussed the breakup after a week when he was more calm and collective. So was I the butthole for siding with AmITheA right away? Not the idiot. He doesn't see that this is about his unhealthy behavior and not about taking sides. Unfortunately, there might not be an easy way to get him to seek therapy. He sort of has to take that step himself, realizing he needs it, get over the perceived stigma of it, then actually get it, at which point you can be happy and support him. At this point, I'd be more inclined to warn women away from him, not that I'd insert myself in someone's life like that. Not the idiot. You don't have to side with him just because you're family. If anything, it would be a butthole move if you let him treat women like garbage because he got burned. He needs therapy and you shouldn't feel guilty for telling him how it is. Not the idiot. Whatever happened in his head after Brit cheated on him triggered something bad. Like, real bad. Siding with him for the sake of keeping the peace will only indulge his behavior and tell him that it's acceptable. If intervention doesn't happen soon, things could get very dark if it's not already too late. He may very well plummet headfirst into a mentality where I'd be saying careful. He's already showing signs of the mentality that women who don't meet his unrealistic, distorted ideals are no good, and he's comparing them all to a woman who hurt him deeply. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell. Have a beautiful rest of your day.